Hi everybody, I'm Jack. This is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Just another typical day here in Bama. I've been doing some work this morning. I've been writing lately. I'm starting to slowly ease back into that writing. I finished a blog post yesterday and started the book this week. Now I have to get back on that today. I've got some more writing to do, but I got in a certain train of thought this morning, and I've been, kind of exploring a little bit, researching a little bit, and I thought I would share it with you, and that's why this talk today. Raw vegan questions. What about protein? I do videos like this every day, so if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate if you'd hit that subscribe button now. Click on the little bell and check send notifications so you will stay subscribed to the channel. I learn a lot of stuff when I do like these little basic ones, and I can always use the basics because, and before I even get started, you guys know I'm not the Mr. Science type, so any Poindexters out there, you don't have to throw a lot of hardcore big word sciencey stuff at me. I'm just kind of explaining it the best I can with my simple understanding. But I did learn some stuff, and as I was doing this one, I think I'm gonna do a whole little series just on raw vegan questions, on just some of those little basic things we all ask ourselves as raw vegans, and also those questions we get from other people. So I think this will be a nice way for me to, continually refresh my memory on this stuff, ingrain it into myself so I can explain it better, and also I'll learn stuff along the way as well. And probably what I'm getting is this is probably that number one question. That's why I guess I started off with it. The first question people ask you even if you're just vegan, much less raw vegan, is where do you get your protein? You just can't get the protein. I think protein is very misunderstood. And it's, there's not as many people out there, no matter what they're doing, that are protein deficient as people seem to think there might be. But it's actually kind of hard to be protein deficient. But anyhow, let's and one thing I just always want to point out, I've talked about this before, and this is kind of a rhetorical question. Kind of roll this around in your head and just see how you feel about it. Almost the fact that I can make, no matter how modest they might be or whatever, just the fact that I can get stronger, somewhat stronger, marginally stronger, somewhat bigger, and I can add muscle, even though it might not be a lot and it might be at a slow rate. Just the fact that I can do that, wouldn't that just almost suggest that I couldn't be protein deficient? Could I do those type things if I were protein deficient? I ask myself that all the time, and I just don't really think so. One of the things that people are always talking about protein. Number one, our body has to break protein down into these things called amino acids before it's even usable in the body. So I think a lot, and I can relate to this because, back in the days when I was younger and going to the gym, it was just always about protein drinks, eating the cans of tuna, getting as much protein in as possible. And, I think basically what a lot of people are doing with this approach is just they're taxing their kidneys, because your kidneys have to process all this, and you just end up, you can't break down all that protein, and you're just ending up peeing it away to a large extent, these people that are just cramming protein into them. And you know what most people don't know this, but there's protein in everything we eat. There's protein in every fruit and vegetable out there that we eat. Now, I'm not going to go so far as to say, I know there is a protein profile in fruit, but I'm not really, and like I say, I'm kind of unorthodox in my approach to everything, so I'm not really thinking so much on the fruit for my proteins, but there's different proteins. Like I say, I've got my trusty notes, not being Mr. Science. The biggest thing we need to do, because there's different amino acids in all the different various foods. So one of the biggest things, we need to be getting as many of the amino acids as possible for our body to be functioning and putting all of this together. So the number one thing to do to make sure you're doing, if you're eating a raw vegan diet, to make sure you are getting sufficient protein, is to make sure you're getting sufficient calories. You need to be eating enough calories throughout the day, and you need to be eating a variety of calories. And your body, this is something I learned, I'll throw in real quick, I learned from Don Bennett at Woodstock talking. You need to have an appropriate activity level. Like if you're just a couch potato or sitting in front of the computer all the time and you're not burning a lot and you're not requiring as many calories, you're possibly not taking in enough protein and a number of things you might take just because you're not eating enough, because you're not doing anything and your body's not requiring those calories. Now, even though your body might not require those calories for energy to get through your day, as plant-based, as vegan, as raw vegan, we need these nutrients that we're getting by taking in a sufficient amount of food. So we need to be sure we're eating enough calories, and we need to be sure that we're getting it from a wide variety of stuff. I mean, I get my let's see. Like I say, I'm going to double check my notes. I don't want to, but a lot of times it's not that I don't get it. I'll just leave stuff out. I'll say, oh, if I don't write things down, I'll be like, oh, I wanted to say that. Yeah, just talking about how different fruits and vegetables have different aminos. Now, one thing I did learn, this is what I was looking for that's very interesting, and I'm going to pay attention to this, might get me back on the Brazil nuts. Well, number one, like I say, we get fruits and vegetables from where we get protein from all the fruits and veggies, smaller amount from nuts and seeds. And I'll talk about the seeds parts in a little while. The only thing about relying too heavily on the nuts and seeds for your protein is that also comes with a high fat price tag to it. It's, the nuts and seeds have a lot of fat in there. Now what I tend to use when I'm talking about nuts and seeds, I will use the occasional nuts, in a recipe. That's more for taste. That's just more for how good the dish is going to be. I'm not necessarily doing that for the protein, but what I do on a regular basis every day, in addition to the massive amounts of fruits and vegetables I'm taking in, is chia seeds and hemp seeds. I generally, and not to get off on fat and stuff, I generally do the chia seeds for the better profile of omega-6s to omega-3s, a better ratio, and the hemp is a little bit higher in protein. But I'm doing every day. I'm doing hemp seeds and chia seeds every day, an equal amount, more or less. And I'm also adding spirulina, which is a good boost for the protein. So, while I don't necessarily use protein shakes and I don't use plant proteins, I do use these extra little things that I feel, especially going to the gym and working out frequently, help me right there. Now, two of the amino acids that are hard to get in a raw vegan diet and something to pay attention to is methionine and lysine. But we can solve that. Like there's methionine in Brazil nuts. So I think I'm going to get back to that. And there's also Brazil nuts are a good source of selenium. So I think I'm going to get back to keeping some Brazil nuts around the house, soaking them, and just eating enough. Like I say, that's almost like taking I was doing the Brazil nuts for selenium for a while, and I almost just looked at it as opposed to eating nuts. It was almost like taking my pill or something. Like I forgot how many I was eating, maybe like one Brazil nut a day or however many a week. I'm going to look more into that, but that's for the methionine. And for lysine, and now that I'm starting to sprout, I'm going to look for this one at my little store in Pensacola, is fenugreek seeds. Sprouted fenugreek seeds are supposedly loaded with lysine. And also, like I say, you're getting some in all your fruits, a little bit more in your green veggies. Like I like my kale, I like my spinach, romaine, watercress. Although you do have, like I say, this is a deep, deep rabbit hole when you start going into things, and somebody can say, yeah, but do we digest the kale, the cruciferous stuff all that well? Or are we getting everything out of the greens and are we getting everything out of like the kale and the spinach or whatever? But that's why I'm saying I don't like to pin this protein thing on any one thing. In other words, if somebody might say, well, yeah, but you're not absorbing or you're not really utilizing or you're not getting as much from the greens as you want. Well, okay, well, I'm having the fruit. Well, you're not getting it there. Yeah, but I'm having the chia seeds and the hemp seeds. Yeah, well, but, well, I'm also getting it with the spirulina. So I'm eating a lot of calories every day. An adequate amount of calories for my body, because I'm obviously not overeating or I would be overweight. I would be getting fat. So I think I've, as I spend more time here in the States and I'm back in the gym regularly, I'm honing this thing and I'm starting to really, without counting a whole lot, I don't use chronometer, I don't write my stuff down like I advise other people to, but you just kind of get your eye, you kind of start realizing how much you're eating every day. And I can't sit and say, okay, I'm having this many calories, but I know if I increase a little bit, if I eat at this time, if I add an extra 200 or 300 calories at this time of the day, I'm playing with my calories like that, and I know, I'm not getting fat or anything, and I'm making modest gains. I'm gonna have to do a video before this year is out. I don't know if you remember, but at the first of the year, I was about 155 and said I wanted to put on 10 pounds of solid weight. Now, I don't know if I'm going to make 10 pounds, and if I don't make a complete 10 pounds, I'm not even sweating it. I might even be happy about it because 10 pounds might have been too much in 1 year to stay solid and not get a little bit soft in the middle. But anyhow, that's another subject for another day. And I'll check in before the end of the year and see how much actual solid weight I've gained. But going to the gym, eating like I'm eating, I feel good every day. I feel strong every day. I'm increasing in the gym. Yes, I'm not competing in Mr. Olympia contest as a 53-year-old male, and I do it for kind of this experimentation purpose too. I mean, I enjoy going to the gym. A lot of people don't like to go to the gym. I like to go to the gym. It's kind of a quiet time. It clears my head. I put my headphones in, but it's also kind of another field of experiment where I can kind of see, okay, I know, I don't want it just to be theoretical, talking about, okay, you can build muscle. I want to get in there and see myself if you can build muscle on this raw vegan lifestyle. And in the end, it's not about, I'm not fanatic about that. I mean, I'm not crazy. I don't need to get super huge. I just want to be solid, healthy, tight and toned, and add a little bit of extra muscle, because there was a while, I didn't like being just super skinny, super thin. I just think our organs can use some insulation. I'm always thinking about that. What if I got in a car accident? What if I got in any sort of accident? Can my body absorb the trauma, when I'm just rail thin? So I've worked kind of hard to put on a little bit of, good solid weight. And yeah, I just don't see the protein deficiency thing. I can't sit and talk on the deep level about it like some people can, just simply because I can't retain all that stuff. But once I'm smart enough to research stuff, I'm smart enough to look at this and kind of understand that this makes more sense. And then once something makes sense, I kind of have to just release that knowledge. I don't have room on the hard drive for it. And also too, some symptoms of protein deficiency. I went and watched a number of snippets of little videos, and I read a couple of articles just to see what other people's takes were on this thing, and just symptoms of protein deficiency: hair loss or changes in hair texture. I haven't lost any hair. Slow healing time for small cuts. That's hard to say because I don't really cut myself all that much. Tiredness, no, don't experience tiredness. I have plenty of energy. Loss of muscle, no, actually the opposite. I've been putting on a little bit more muscle again. Frequent colds, no. Difficulty sleeping, well, I've had certain sleep issues ever since I was a kid, but I sleep okay at night. I don't necessarily sleep 8 hours in a stretch, but I'll sleep 2 hours. I might be awake, watch some YouTube for a while, go back to sleep. So that's not one. Dizziness and breaking or brittle nails. I mean, I've got to keep my nails rather short, but I don't notice any brittleness to them. So yeah, I don't notice any symptoms of deficiency. And I think, like I say, the protein thing is very misunderstood, and you're going to get that as a vegan, as a raw vegan, people coming at you, not even realizing. The funny thing is they'll come at you about protein, and it's just kind of like they're just almost throwing it out there because that's just been beaten into our head. They don't even know what they're taking in protein-wise. Some of the people that'll ask you about that, if you'll just, and you don't have to call them out on it or make it all dramatic, but if you'll kind of follow what they're eating garbage. So, I mean, where's the protein in your garbage? I mean, I'm talking about fast food. I'm not even just getting into animal products or plant-based versus non. I'm talking about people that eat out of the convenience store, eat out of the Circle K, people that go through the drive-through eating that stuff. That's not even real food, even if you want to argue that other food that is from animal products might be real food. That stuff ain't real food. So it's interesting when people come at you about certain health questions when they don't even do anything remotely healthy in their life. And I would be like, okay, so where's your protein source in that garbage hot dog from the Circle K, or from that burger and fries and shake that you're getting at, you know, the local clown fast food place? It isn't there. So anyhow, people are going to ask you that. People are going to ask you that for years. I just thought this would be a good video. I don't generally get on the basics like this, but I'm going to try to start sharing a little bit. But for me, it doesn't really matter. I could almost be flip about it, because I don't need any, I don't need people to approve of what I'm doing. You know, I feel good. I like the way I'm eating. I like the results I'm getting from this new lifestyle I've taken on over the past 5 years. What I always tell people, if they argue with me, which they don't need to, because I'm not telling you do what I do, but I'll tell you something. At 53 years of age, I lived 48 years that other way, that sad way, eating all that type stuff. So don't act like I don't have some, like, people sometimes will talk to you like you were just thrust upon this planet in this clean, pristine state. Don't come at me like that, because I've been plenty dirty. I drank hard for 30 years. I mean, this is football season. Football season always meant sitting in the bar, having, you know, living on wings on the weekend, living on nachos, living on just garbage food, burgers, whatever. So I can just compare. I know before and I know now. And I also know a cleaner version of before. So I have a lot to compare it to. So, your mileage may vary, but I'm pretty secure and I'm pretty certain in the way that I eat and in the way that I live my life. So anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. Might be able to take something of use from it. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.